Now, finance is an important component of human life. Money, they say, is not everything, but it is necessary for survival and sustenance. Money is a tool or object for universally recognized value that can be used to exchange products, exchange services, and settle debts. Finances have become very important to improve the quality of life and the overall well-being of a person. So, efforts need to be implemented to improve the level of financial management and financial behavior, especially among the youth. There are several factors that influence and contribute to determination in financial management. Among them are individual financial management factors, and that is what we'll be talking about today. That said, joining me on the show, it is a full house today. I am joined by the Chief Executive Officer, Epay Nigeria, in the studio, Victor Ani-Laju. Thank you so much for joining us again. It's good to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. All right, we also have joining us Temitope Olukunle, the founder of Outnovatively Africa in Nigeria. Thank you, Temitope, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You look radiant, by the way. All right, we also have Chukwuocha Ikedi, Jedis, the business analyst in Nigeria. Thank you, Jedis, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Would you rather I called you Ikedi or Jedis? Which one? Which do you prefer?
Sorry, Jedice.
Oh, it's Jedice, actually. Okay. All right, Jedice, thank you for joining us. And finally, last but not the least, we have all the way from Kampala, Uganda, Kasango Dickens Pesa, the Director General of Global Council for Promotion of International Trade. Thank you, Kasango, for joining us.
Thank you very much for me.
We didn't get that. Could you say that again, please?
I'm glad to be here.
All right. It's a pleasure to have you join us. So I have with me Victor, Temitope, Jedice, and Kasango. So we're going to kickstart the conversation now. I'm going to start by asking Victor. Victor, what comes to mind when you hear financial management?
Number one, planning.
Okay.
Number two, controlling, taking charge of your situation, looking at where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow. And number three, we look at into investments.
Right.
You need to invest into the future so the future can produce for you. And the fourth one is for you to get feedback from whatever profit, investment, returns that you've been able to get. How you're able to manage it, how you're able to either reinvest it or use it to do other projects, use it to pay bills, use it to solve family issues.
All right.
But you know, these dynamics differ.
Yeah.
For us here in Nigeria, for us here in Africa, the way we manage our finance is totally different from the Western world.
Right.
Right? Because of for the Western world, they're privileged to have a lot of financial support. But for us here in Nigeria and other parts of Africa, we don't have any financial support. So we earn what we work for, or even sometimes we don't even get what we work for. So whatever comes to us is not just coming to just us. You know, statistically, it has been seen that one successful person in Africa, or if you have money in Africa, it's not only for you, it's for yourself, or your family, your loved ones,
and your neighbors.
And your neighbors. So, but in the Western world, if you have money, it's for yourself, regardless of who is related to you. Right. So the challenges and the manner of approach we use in managing resources, finances in Africa is totally different from the Western world. But still, money has to do with planning. You definitely have to plan. You know, some people will put it under budgeting. You have to budget for it. But in the simple terms, just you need to plan. Because if you fail to plan, that means you are definitely going to fail.
True.
You know, part of the problem we are facing, especially with the young generation in Africa, is because our fathers who work in government fail to plan for us, for our own future. But what they enjoy in the Western world is the current government in this country, in the developed country today, are already planning for the next generation. So they're already building schools for the next generation. They're already creating working environment for the next generation. They're already building industries for the next generation. They're already talking about 2060, 2070, and 2080, and 2050. So they already have planned. They already know that, okay, you need to give birth to just 2 children, and each of those child needs to go to school. They already have schools that children that will be born in 20, 30 years' time where they will go through and learn. But for us here in Africa, we don't even have schools that will even teach the present children that we have. I want to talk about the children that we will better in Africa. And as of today, Nigeria now are not top in population. Our population is growing rapidly. We're now over 220 million people in Nigeria. And the population in Africa is growing, but our resources, our revenue, our money is not growing. So there is a problem. And at this point, I will always say, what we need, Nigerians, Africans, all need help. So maybe as we go further, I will explain what I mean by we all need help.
Right. But very quickly, speaking of having just 2 children, if at all that was, the case from the very beginning, would you be in existence? I know I would not if my parents had just 2 children. So would you have been in existence?
Maybe I will not be in that family. I'll be somewhere else. I'll be in another family.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Still talking about managing finances, I would like to ask Temitope, what do you think is a major causative factor, in your own opinion, for exorbitant spending? Why do you think people spend so much and save so little?
Thank you so much once again. And I think this is a very great conversation. So there's something I call, gap analysis, right? And a lot of times, just picking it up from where the question that you asked about why people save so little, first, just the general answer to that would be that then we have more needs. Generally, people have more needs than, the desire to save. I mean, the second part of that is the saving culture. I'm not sure in this part of the world or in this nation, we have that saving culture. It's even very obvious in our economy, where we are a very consuming economy. We want to consume. So when you earn the money, you want to earn it. There are needs waiting for you before the money even coming. And that's why I like to talk about gap analysis a lot, because what that does for you is you start with a goal identification. How much really do you spend on a daily basis or on a monthly basis? What is your need? How much is your income goal? So when you have a goal, which is like a goal identification, you also want to do your current state assessment. So right now, if my income goal that would, powerfully take care of my needs and accommodate me saving and investing, if that is about ₦1,000,000 a month, for example, and maybe I'm a 9-to-5 and I'm currently earning 300,000, your current state assessment has already told you that there's something wrong. You're in 300 and you are going to 1,000,000, 7 figures in Naira. The next step you need to do is to understand the gap identification, right? The gap, the differences, that's about 700,000. What do we need to do? There's something I call the root cause. I didn't frame it. It's called the root cause analysis. The reason why you're earning that 300,000, there's a reason for it. And so is it lack of skills? Is that the same thing people in your level, your expert level, your expertise level, your experience level? Is it the same thing they are earning? Is it about the industry you found yourself? Is it the sector? Is it an age group? Is it a location factor? Because the truth is what you are earning, which is like a big deal to you, there is a better earning somewhere. And so you need to understand the root cause analysis. If you have to upskill, then you do it. If you have to change industry or sector, you do it. If you have to go for certification, join professional bodies, right? Improve yourself. That is part of the root cause analysis, where you identify what is wrong and then you create an improvement plan, which are the examples I just gave. An improvement plan is if you have to learn. If you have to migrate, maybe industry or sector, do that. If you have to join professional bodies, do that. Internships, right? Upgrade yourself so that you get to that level where you can now say, I am earning. And the truth is you will never earn enough. The truth is you will never earn enough, because the more you earn, the more your needs and your taste increases. But at the same time, as you grow in your career, in your finances and planning, the capacity to do a proper allocation of resources is the skill set you will always need. Because when you're earning 50,000 Naira and when you're earning 100 million Naira, you still need a wisdom to allocate your resources aright. If not, you will still be spending much more and you will end up not saving anything. So I think it's a culture, and that is why all of this conversation is creating an awareness for people to begin to understand that regardless of what you earn, no matter how much you think it's, no matter how little you think it is, there is always the seed in the money you earn. And the seed is to help you multiply that through savings, through investment. But by the time you eat the seed itself with the resources that you have, then there's nothing, to fall back on, right? So that is what I would think would be an ideal answer based on the foundation that we've laid for this conversation.
All right, thank you so much for breaking that down, Temitope. I would like to ask Jedice, do you agree with what she said regarding the reason why people spend so exorbitantly?
Okay, yes, I do. I really, really agree with Temitope, honestly. I think it's a mindset. It starts with the mindset first. You have to, first of all, know how to manage money. Not everybody can manage money. Right? There are people who just spend money based on impulse. As the need arises, you just spend. Do you already have a lay down principle? I read a book when I was young. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. And according to that book, the writer or the protagonist of that story had a particular principle when it comes to funding. Do you have a particular amount of money that you save from every money that comes in, or when the money just comes in, you spend? Some people can say, okay, spend 20%. Some people have a principle of spending 20%. Some people have a principle of bringing out 40% for expenses for the day, or for the year, or for the month, depending on how you want to go about it. So, yes, I think it's a culture. First of all, it starts with the mindset. You have to break it down and know that not all money that comes into your hands are for spending. Not all money that comes into your hands are for spending. Some are for investing. But you wouldn't even know how to invest if you don't even know if you don't have the mindset, you have not been taught properly. Finance is a school of thought on its own, and people need to be taught how to manage their finances. The book Rich Dad Poor Dad told us how Robert Kiyosaki was able to learn the principles of money from his rich dad. If not, the guy would have just gone to school, and just get a work and just go about it like that. But you need to know that in order to break certain things, you have to invest either in your mind or in another business. All right. So yes, I agree with that.
All right, thank you for that, Jedice. Dickens, what is your thought on what all three have said?
I think I agree with them, though I think in addition to whatever they said, one, you need to identify that as you are a person, where do you want to be? Because it's going to start from your financial goal. But in addition to that, in the African culture, we've not literally been taught to literally live with money, have comfort around money. So you find someone goes through an education system and they literally do not know how to handle money. So while I was preparing for today's show, I realized there is a childhood stage, there is a teenage stage, there is an adult stage, there's a maturity stage. But things graduate as you grow along, as you get better with the knowledge, get better with the experience on how you handle money, and get better even with that decision making. Because at the end of the day, some of these things are going to come down to prioritizing on what is important, what is the want and what is the need, what is urgent and what is something that you can plug off within that time. So partly what we use have to literally work on before you think of investing, where you categorizing yourself. If you are at the baby stage, you're literally 100% dependent on a different person. So you're not earning, you're not literally responsible for anything. When you're at the child stage, you're not earning money, you're not managing, so definitely you can't manage anything. When you're at the teenage stage, you're trying to literally make yourself be self-sufficient. So you're literally bringing something small, but cannot sustain you. And when you get to the adult stage, you're looking at, okay, you're having money, but you're getting to understand, okay, how can I balance my income and expenditure? How do I start planning long term so that I can definitely become dependent, one, self-sufficient, and also drastically move from debt to tend to be a person that gets dormant income, whereby money comes in and you're not literally working for it on a day-to-day basis. From the adult stage, from the maturity stage now, you have investment, you have income that's coming, and with you working or not working. And by the time you get to this level, you're literally looking at 6 months worth of investment that even if it didn't work, even if COVID happened, maybe another time, at least you're not going to be affected, and your cash flows are going to keep coming in, and you can sustain the family, you can sustain your business, you can sustain yourself, your education system to go forth. So I think this is something more that I just wanted to add to the previous people that have shared.
All right, thank you so much, Dickens, for adding that as well. Well, we've heard from everyone with me on the show, but I would like for us to also hear from the youths out there. It's a youth-based program, and we want to hear their own thoughts about managing finances and maybe possibly the challenges that they face. Let's take a look, and we'll come back to talk about it.
Managing finances efficiently is crucial for you to build a strong foundation for their future. Here are some key principles for you to manage their finances. Number one, budgeting. Create a monthly budget by tracking income and expenses. Allocate funds for the essentials such as housing, food, transportation, and service. Limit discretionary spending and prioritize saving for future goals. 2. Saving and investing. Start saving early, even if it is a small amount. Establish an emergency fund to cover unexpected expenses. Considering investing in low-risk option businesses that can yield profit over time.
We all know when we are talking about finance, we are all talking about money. How can I manage my money? And we have different means in which we can manage our money. One of it is investment. It's good to save your money in the bank. It's good to join contributions, but you can actually invest your money. You can buy shares, you can buy government bonds, you can buy other securities, and at the same time, you can actually invest it in a business that you know that will actually bring about profit to you. You study the business before you actually venture into it. But most especially, what I would like to talk about now is our wants and our needs. Some of us we tend to spend money more on what we want rather than what we need. What is the difference between our wants and our need? Our need is something that is very, very essential that we cannot do without. But our want is something we can actually do without. But yet, as youth, we want to feel among, then we tend to spend our money on those lavish things.
Some strategies to manage your finances with includes creating and using a budget. This helps you manage your income and expenditure or expenses, such that you have things like data, airtime, food stuff per month, of course, gifts, given to people, lending, have a budget for that so you don't go beyond the limits. Miscellaneous, you want to go out and some things you don't plan for. Have a budget for taking yourself out and giving yourself a treat. You should live within your means. Okay, don't live, in competition with anybody that may be any less or higher than yourself. Educate yourself about finances. Have financial goals. How much you want to make at the end of the month or year. Things like that will help you a great deal.
Well, those were the opinions of the youth, and not just opinions, they were really valid advice to the fellow youth. I would like for us to pick it one after the other. I still have my guests with me, Victor, Temitope, Jedis, and Dickens. And I want us to pick this one after the other, starting with the savings culture. So back to you, Victor, talking about the savings culture. I've seen funny memes flying around where people will say that I'm trying to save for the rainy days, but it starts to rain almost immediately. That's to say that they're trying to save, but every single time a need, or should I say a want, arises that makes them reach into where they're saving and spend that money. So basically, the money they're saving doesn't last. Most people do not know how to stick to a budget. A lot of times they try, but something somewhere will just come up and they will have to use that money. So what do you have to say about the saving culture?
Okay, to help your saving culture, you need to increase your earnings. In this 21st century, one stream of income will not enable you to save. You need to increase your streams of income. You need to have like 2, 3 streams or 4 streams of income, because somebody that don't earn enough cannot save enough. In fact, financial management did not start from saving; it actually starts from your earnings. It's someone that have earned that can save.
But I mean, what do you think about the saying, if 10% is not enough, 90% will never be enough? I mean, it starts from somewhere.
So the question is 10% of what? Is it 10% of $3,000 that's in Nigeria and abroad? per month or 10% of 30,000 naira that we earn here. So that's I understand the culture of savings, but we want to ask, what are you saving? You don't even have enough to feed yourself. Can you save? That's actually the question. And you have to go to work. So will you now take money you're supposed to use to go to work to go and save? Or will you go and borrow, be in debt while you are saving? Do you understand what I'm saying here? So rather than just looking at saving, we have to rather encourage more people to, especially for us here in Africa, because I know that this program is actually for Africans.
Yes.
We need to increase our earnings. You can't compare what they earn in developed country to what we earn here. Take, for example, in Nigeria, our minimum wage is still about 32,000. In somewhere like Canada, their minimum wage is over $2,500, which is over $1 million naira. So you can't, you see the maximum, the weight of difference.
True that.
So while we're looking at people to save, then for those who are able to earn, one thing you will do that will still enable you to save more is your ability to earn more. If you earn more, you can save 80%.
Right.
You can save 90% because your earnings it's massive.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So, and secondly, another thing that help people to save, which most people don't know, is that if you are busy earning, you will not be spending.
Yeah, there's that.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that's why you find out that in Nigeria here, you find out that some bankers can save because they leave their house in the morning, they come back at night, they don't even have time to go out to spend the money. So at the end of the month, they will find out that they've been able to save. If you see any person that is diligent in their work, you don't really need to tell them to save because they are preoccupied with working, making transactions, and before you know it, they're able to save.
I mean, these days, you don't necessarily even have to go out to spend the money. There are online transactions everywhere.
Do you understand?
Yes, yes.
But still, if you're making more money, we want to describe people based on what we assume that they have been able to save. But we don't find out how much did you earn for you to be, okay, I find out that you have 10 million naira in your account. I feel you are an expert in saving. But I don't ask you how much do you earn. If you are earning like 3 million naira in a month, it's easy for you. So I cannot compare you to someone that's earning 100,000 in a month.
Very true.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So my advice to any person that want to go into more saving, I will tell you, find more opportunity to earn more. Because when you earn more, you will save more.
Okay. Temitope, you're up. What's your take?
Well, I beg to differ a bit.
Okay.
I mean, solid point, and I agree with you, everybody listening. The goal of expansion is to earn more money, right? When you're expanding, you want to make more money, think of multiple streams of income. And I'm an advocate of that, right? It's one of the things that I coach people on. However, if you're not able to save when you have little, when you have that big one, you won't be able to save it. I mean, these things are easier said than done, and it's very closely related to the conversations of tithing. And I know that's also a very controversial thing. So people say things like, oh, I cannot tithe. I mean, this is not a Christian conversation, but I'm using it, as an example. You know, if you can't tithe over 100,000 naira, the truth is, which is about 10,000 naira, the truth is if you start earning 100 million naira, it will be very difficult for you to drop your 10 million naira. So I want you to think about that from the savings perspective, that if out of the 100,000 naira you make in a month, you cannot save 10,000 naira. I don't care how much you spend on, transport fare, which is very solid, which is very cogent. The truth is there will always be something left to save, no matter how little. Nobody said saving is easy. It is not easy. Nobody said it is easy. Sometimes, even my fridge, when I have a juice in the fridge, I can't sleep well. Like, I just want to go and open that refrigerator, drink whatever is there. It's the same thing when you have something and you know it is yours. Your mind is there, like, let me just spend this thing. Let me just drink this wine because it is yours. However, the understanding that it's a seed and then you are also keeping it for, it means that anything can happen. And when there are projects, you are not able to do them. And then they ask you, are you not working? That it is enough or it is not enough is a different and separate conversation. But that you are saving at all, that is the most important thing. And like I said, there was an example of something that happened with me. This is not somebody. Like I said at the beginning as well, like you're earning 50,000 naira, there's something to save. When you start earning 10 million naira, there's something to save. The difference between those two things is your taste would have increased. Where you are living would have increased. The type of car you are living would have increased. So you are increasing in your taste. Your expenses, your operational expenses are increasing. However, your money is also increasing. Then the allocation for your savings should have increased. At some point in my career, at the very beginning of my career, about 2 years into working in 9 to 5, I think I was earning about 80,000 naira from a particular company. And then, the salary was increased to 120,000 naira. I decided to say that 20,000 naira, I could live on 100,000 for some months. That 20,000 naira or 40,000 naira extra on it, I was not going to touch it. Let me say how long I'm going to live on the previous salary. Of course, it wasn't enough. That was why I asked for increase. But even with that 80,000 naira, I was seeing little to save. Now, this extra 40,000 naira they've added, can I save it? I don't want to touch it for some months. And I was able to get something with it. I got a bike. I bought a bike, for somebody to run, like a hire purchase. So what am I saying? And I taught my friends this principle. Some of them went on to start a business of their own. Somebody started a gas business in Ogun State with that ideology. Start with what you have. Your money will increase. Your expenses will increase as well. But your savings, you can always find an allocation, no matter how little, for savings. That is my opinion. And I think I'll use the mic right here.
Okay. All right. The conversation is getting heated. Well, Jedis and Dickens. Let me go with Jedis first. What is your take? I mean, of course, you see that we're going to need a sort of balance here. So let's see what your own take is.
Okay, so I think I actually agree with Demi on this one again, because we have seen people who have won lottos, won bets, and squandered the money just within years. The mindset is the mindset something. If you cannot save with little, you can't save with much. All right. If you're not faithful with little, according to the good Bible, if you cannot save, you're not faithful with little, you cannot be faithful with much. We can't trust you until we see how faithful you are. Right? I think that there are ways to go around this thing. There are ways to go about it. People like to buy, they don't like this too. So you can try to inculcate your saving as a buying habit. For instance, we have the normal savings that happens with the petty traders, where you can be saving small. You can save as little as 100 naira every day. Did you know that if you save 100 naira for every day, you would have saved 36,000 naira 500 if you save 100 naira for every day? Now, as little as it is, you could see that it could amount to something. Now, if you make it bigger, let's say you're saving something like 1,000 naira every day, that means you'll be able to save like 265,000. All right, when you put in the 265 days, that makes a year. So you can see that it starts with where you are. Start with what you have. Start saving from where you have, or what you have, or what you're earning. I don't believe that the earning power or the earning capacity is the problem. The problem is that your mindset has not yet agreed that you can pay that amount. All right. So yes, I go with Amy on this one.
Okay. I would hear from Dickens before I play the devil's advocate. So Dickens, what do you have to say about it? Dickens, can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us, but
Hello?
okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Did you get my question?
Yes. I think for me, I think all the presenters have stated very well. And just in addition to what they've stated, I think the typical African child, and as you said, some of you are literally your third child, the fourth child, the sixth child in the families. So we coming from backgrounds without stable financial backgrounds. So you find ourselves looking after extended families. So part of where we need to start from before you're looking at the saving, we need to realize, okay, what is the additional priority as my goal as of this point? Because if we can't look beyond that point, you're going to help relatives, but at the expense of your financial growth. You're going to educate the whole clan using the African culture, but you are not growing as a person. So if we prioritize on ourselves for beginning starters, you're earning about $1,000. If we to convert it in the different African currencies, what does that actually mean to you as a person? Because by 25 years, usually we have aspirations to get married. if the lady has never gotten or given birth, they're going to give birth within the first 1 year. But 25 years, most people are just graduating from university, or they're just graduating from high school. Let me say they're just getting out of college. Now, at that point, if they didn't have a very stable family background, they don't have an inheritance. So they're building everything from scratch. If they are running the race and they're starting first generational wealth, the children are going to grow by 5 years. They're just trying to literally stabilize to buy property and construct. Before they know it, children are in high school, they're going into university, and the cycle continues. Because why? From the family level, you're supporting additional people in the process. Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, we've heard from all four, and so I would like to ask. I think Temi and Jedis were more vocal about that part of, if you can't save little, then you can't save much. But I would like to come back to Temi and Jedis very quickly. Let's be very realistic. Victor was talking about the minimum wage, especially in Nigeria. I don't think Dickens will be able to relate that much, although we're all in Africa, let's be honest. But talking about the minimum wage in Nigeria being 30K, there's every tendency that someone earning the minimum wage might run into debt even before the end of the month. So how do you go about saving with that amount of money that you're earning? Let's say, especially the person is a parent, say a father, a mother, has himself to cater for, has the partner, has the children to cater for. So what exactly do we say about that kind of situation? Temi, do you want to go first?
So I think that anyone who thinks that what they're currently earning is not enough, and if you ask everybody, I mean, everybody will tell you what they're earning is not enough. So we all desire to have more. So the conversation is not to disregard or to make light of the ability of everyone or the desire of everyone to get another source of income. And so the person who is currently earning 30,000 naira or 35,000 naira, like you said, and that is not even enough. So the question is, how is that person even going to work? Right? So people like that would definitely have something on the side that is already supporting them. So, but what we are saying then is, regardless of what you're earning, whether through one source of income or 10 sources of income, there's something to save. So, because are you saying that if you have a child and that child comes back sick one day, God forbid, there is no money to buy paracetamol, there's no savings to dip your hand? We're not even talking about investing. Savings is the lowest form of investing. So we're not talking about investing that you bought properties or you bought shares or you bought a company. No, we're talking about saving. And savings is to save you. That's the essence of savings. And so are we saying that to buy drugs for that kid, or to buy a school bag, or to buy food? Because don't forget, we're talking about saving from what you've earned to be able to live your life. No matter how little you earn, there should be something to save. I mean, we saw this thing traditionally, not even in the age of digital world. We saw our parents, no matter how little, you see them, they have it in their wrapper. They tie it there. We have the piggy banks. They have it under their pillow. It is savings for a reason. So let's leave the big English that you have to have a bank account. The money has to run in thousands of dollars or thousands of naira. No matter how little you are earning, you have to save something. I don't know how else to explain this, but it is what it is. No matter how little, you have to save something, because that's where you also pick your running expenses from. So this company that you are going for, even though they are paying you less than what you need in your life, you still have to transport yourself there. So where is the money coming from? You still have to save. You still have to save. That's what I think. So it means that if they stop for a month, life is over. If they stop paying salary for a month, or something happens, they didn't pay for 1 month, is life over? No. That's what I think.
All right. Temitope said your savings will save you. Jedis, do you still want to weigh in, or has she said it all?
I agree that yes, we save, but what happens, where I'm particularly interested in is, what do you do with the savings? Right? What do you do with savings?
Okay, I think that's another conversation to be had. Go ahead.
So what do you do with the savings? Do you just save for rainy days? Yes, you save for rainy days, but more than that, you also save to invest. All right, and the bigger your savings, the bigger your investment. So I'm a very, very big preacher of investing in yourself, investing in your mind, because that's the only way you can increase your earning capacity. You cannot go and meet your employer and tell him to increase your salary when they cannot see the capacity that you have increased. They're not seeing the money that you're bringing into the company increased. You cannot even go and meet such demands if you are not even bringing much value to the table. All right, so one of the ways that you can increase that value that you have is by increasing and investing in your mind. In this part of the country, we are very, very scared of investing in our mindset. We are scared of buying books. We are scared of paying for courses. We just want free, which is not really good. All right. The average Nigerian does not know the power of increasing their earning capacity. Some time ago, Jeff Bezos was the richest man then, and then he had the divorce. Of that divorce, he had to split a huge amount of money to his wife, and still was the richest man in the world. You don't release over $20 billion and still retain your title as the richest man in the world if you don't have your earning capacity heightened. That was the only way he was able to sustain that title. All right, Dangote has become, the richest man in Africa for over 10 consecutive years now. Not because he just wants to be there. It's because he's increasing his earning capacity. He just recently launched his refinery. That is another earning capacity for him. All right, so what are you doing with your savings? Not just about savings. What are you doing now? What are you doing about it? What are you investing it into?
Okay. I think Jedis has launched us into the investing culture. Victor wants to say something, so we're talking about investing.
Yeah, so let me go back to the scripture, just like what she said. There was a place when Jesus Christ was telling them about talents. He gave one 5, gave one 2, gave one 1. The one that he gave 1, took that his 1 to go and save it. The one that he gave 2, multiply and earn more 2, he had 4. The one that he gave 5, earn more 5, he had 10. You know what Jesus did? He took from the one that went to save his own and gave to the one that earned more 5. Because the truth about it is, Africa is where we are today because we were told save. Our parents that saved, what happened? I had a father that saved, was doing business, was saving, but he never had plan to expand. Immediately he was sick, almost all his all his savings went into to treat him. At the end of the day, he died. And before he died, we had to sell 1 or 2 things. So for me, from experiences, from knowledge, I know that savings cannot save you either. It's in your earnings, your capacity to invest and invest and invest and invest. Just keep investing. When you are done, in fact, when you save, put it into investment. But earnings must come before savings. So what should drive the young African today is, how do I earn more? What should drive me is not how much do I have to save. No, is I have 40,000 naira now. How can I multiply this 40,000 naira to become 400,000? Instead of thinking of how can I save 10,000 naira. No, that's my myopic. You can't even sustain it. Even if you save today, the inflation rate in Africa, you can't. If you keep 100,000 naira in account today, by next year it's no more 100,000. In fact, even in bank, before you know, text message, alert, service charge, and your 100,000 that you have saved, you can now become about 80,000. But how do I invest these 100,000? How do I use the 100,000 to earn more? If we are talking to African youth, we should tell them about earning capacity. Your earning capacity will always drive your savings ability. You cannot save more than what you earn. Savings does not save you. It's your earnings that save you.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
So now we are talking about the ability to invest as well, and I think I want
to earn.
And to earn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So Victor is very particular about earning.
Yeah.
Temitope is particular about saving. So Temitope, I'm going to ask you. We've talked about saving, right? And to be honest, a lot of youths out there only save because there's a particular hair or shoe that they can't afford at the moment, or a birthday party or something that they can't afford at the moment, so they save to spend later. So what are the things that you can save for? I know majorly for investments, but what kind of investment are we talking about?
Okay, thanks for that. So I'm not an investment expert, so I might not be able to give you specific things that people should use their resources to invest in, but
Right.
just like we all know the first level of investment would be yourself, right? And the other speaker has been emphasizing on that, and I think it's really, really very powerful. Savings to spend is just is closely related to not even saving at all. So the idea of saving is not necessarily because you want to just save and because of the word and then you spend it later. It's because we've not gotten to that part of the conversation. So I'm glad we're there. Is to also invest. So investing in yourself, and if you are thinking of real estate properties as well, I think it's something very solid. Now, I had a client last year, and I was sharing with some people recently that these are the areas that people don't really look at, right? I've had people walk up to me and my friends, and they're like, "Oh, we have this property, we have that property." We tried to do a lot of funding some years ago, and we're like, "Ah, no, that place is too far." And then I had a client last year, who wanted to do a JV with our company. And by the time we got to the exchange of document parts, I figured that the land was bought many years ago, of course, about 138,000 naira or 180,000 naira thereabouts. But the valuation of that land as of last year, 2022, was 960 million naira. So we're looking at a billion naira valuation. It was massive. And it just blew my mind to say that if someone had come to me right now to say, come and buy a land somewhere, maybe in Epay or in a way, in a very remote area. Of course, thank God those places are coming up right now. We will not think that far because for us, it's about the now. We're not really that futuristic in perspective and looking at the prospect. People say, well, let me do the one I can do now. How about the future value of that thing? So I think that youth should begin to think about real estate investment, and I'm not a real estate expert, but that's something I've seen working with clients, working with people. And I've worked with a real estate firm for about over 3 years. So that's one thing that people should begin to think of. If you don't have the money, crowd fund, come together with your friends, get together, real estate fund, buy the property. You guys can sell it or do whatever. All of these things comes with risk. So do your due diligence. Another thing you can also invest in is your professional growth. I've multiplied my earnings over and over. In fact, I looked at the last 4 years of my career growth, and I found out that every year, it's always like double of my earning of previous years. From 4 years ago. And I found out that it's not because my CV got better. It is not just because I became better in my positioning. It is also because I increased in my capacity and my professional qualifications. Being a part of Forbes didn't come cheap. Being a part of international organization didn't come cheap. Those were investments in my own global position. So that's an area to position. Because if you want to earn more, to be able to save more, or to be able to invest more, you need to earn more. So, like I said, we didn't disregard you anymore, but that you can't save with what you are earning at all, that's a joke, right? So you want to look at that. And then maybe, of course, stocks. I remember when MTN stocks came out or whatever, all of these things, people jumped on the train. I was one of the people that jumped on it, and we looked at the differences now. It's something. So no matter how little, look at stocks, look at shares. Are there companies you can invest in? Your friend is starting a business. You know that she has the potential to transform that business to the next level. Do your due diligence. No matter how little, position yourself. The future is here. You think this thing is in 5 years. Before you know it, 5 years will come and you will still be in that level. So you want to open your mind to the possibilities that are available and so many other things that you can do. But I think people can also look at, researching and then speaking to financial advisors that can advise you properly on allocating your resources for investment.
Okay, thank you so much, Temitope, for that. Dickens, we're still talking about investment, and I would like for you to weigh in on that aspect as well, because a lot of people, like to save, they want to earn more, but they know nothing or next to nothing about investment. What do you have to say about that?
Okay, thank you. I think everybody has shared very good light. I think investment is very crucial in Africa, but I think the typical arrangement, because it's going to vary from if you're an employee seeking to invest outside the business, you're literally working in, and it's not going to be your main focus. It's going to be dormant income coming to you. You're going to need a business whereby you actually understand the structures, because in Africa, certain people take advantage of people that seeking money, and they make off profit with the mind that in the long run, they can set up something similar and you lose your money in the process. But if you understand the system and how it operates, definitely go in for it. On the other hand, there are things you can invest in, even as a person. From experience I've learned, I could not advise someone to start investing into service business. Invest in actually something that is a straightforward.
Dickens, are you still there?
This is what you're selling it at. That way, you're sure that even if you put up a kiosk that is all selling bees or panda yam, you're definitely going to be assured that 300 came in, I made this profit, and at the end of the month, you're looking at books and looking at your revenue. So regarding investment, it's going to grow with the levels. If you're handing 100,000, let me say 100,000 Kenyan naira, you're going to look at things that do not need you to spend at least 60% or 70% of what you have already sold, because you're trying it on. It's not something you're investing in all your time, but you need to look at something you can do within the shortest time as you realize profit and master the game. Because today we are facilitating business in Nairobi, whereby eggs and rice is being transported from Uganda Nairobi, but it's different from Tanzania. It's different from how it's being done in Nigeria. So how do you play around with the idea to suit your market? So if you sink in all your saving, definitely you're going to find a lot of hurdle, but allow yourself grow through the process, because if you grow through the process, by the time you get even, like I know there's a lot of COVID relief fund from the African Development Bank and most of these other nationwide development banks. By the time they come in to assist or get an investor or a person who is coming on board to support or grow your business to scale it to the next level, at least you've mastered all the business operations and you've learned through the process. So the basic business ideas that you can look around in your environment. Someone needs eggs, someone needs particular services.
Okay. I think Dickens' audio is lost, but thank you so much. I think we got the message. Because of our time, we will not be able to go further than this, but I would really like to take this opportunity to thank our guests. It's been an interesting conversation, and, you know, they took us through dimensions that we didn't even expect. Thank you so much, Chief Executive Officer, Epay Nigeria, Victor Ani-Laju. Thank you for joining me in the studio.
Thank you for having
me. It's a pleasure. Also, founder, Outnovatively Africa Nigeria, Temitope Olukunle. Thank you so much, Temitope, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Chukwuocha Ikedi, Jedis, a business analyst in Nigeria. Thank you, Ikedi, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And last but not the least, all the way from Kampala, Uganda, Kasango Dickens Pesa, the Director General, Global Council for Promotion of International Trade. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you very much for hosting me. I'm glad.
It's a pleasure. All right, we have some short but profound expressions by African icons that pertain to savings for the youth. We'll take a look at that and we'll be back. Well, it's been an amazing 1 hour show, and thanks to our guests for making it so. We have another episode coming up next week, and if you don't want to miss out on this, then do follow us on social media for updates, and also join us same time next week for another episode of Fafanua Africa. Till then, I remain Blessings Mosugu, your host on the show. See you next week.